All right. Welcome to the first general meeting of LISSA for the 21-22 school year. It's good to see everybody, and please tell your friends to come to more of our events. It's always exciting to have. The more voices we have, the more difference we can make, which is nice. I don't have a lot of background or history of LISSA, but we are part of ALA. We're the student chapter at UNCG of ALA. So there are LISSA chapters in schools all over the country. So it's kind of cool. We're part of a network. And if you go to the ALA website, there are resources for LISSA students. Not everyone calls themselves LISSA, but you'll find some, similar clubs elsewhere. So I am Becky, and we will start just, if everybody's comfortable, just saying a few words about themselves and kind of a who, what, when, where, why, how, and maybe like what brings you to libraries. So since I'm the one talking right now, I'm Becky. I'm the president of LISSA this year, and I'm doing the school media track for the library program. This is my third semester. I have just had the best time meeting people through LISSA in my classes. Even though it's all online, I really do feel like I've had a good opportunity to get to know people. And I've got, a friend at the Chicago Public Library, many of you probably know him, that I've emailed and said, okay, what do you guys do at the Chicago Public Library for this? Because I want to do that in my library. So I work at Greensboro College in the library there, and that's my who, what, when. Oh, I live in Greensboro. I have 2 children, 2 dogs, 1 cat, 1 husband so far. And that's it. Stephanie, do you want to talk next?
Yeah, I'm Stephanie Wade, and I am in the 4th semester of the program, graduating in December 2022. My focus is in special libraries, digital libraries. I live in Longmont, Colorado with my husband, imaginary pets, and yeah, I'm looking forward to, I'll be helping organize the CritLib discussions, which we'll talk about a little bit later, for LISSA. Molly, did you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. So hi, I'm Molly. I am the marketing manager for LISSA this year. I am based in Durham, North Carolina, and I currently don't work in libraries. I work at Oxford University Press as a marketer to libraries, but I really want to work in libraries. So I think I'm also in the 4th semester, about graduating about when Stephanie will too. I think that's all.
Well, I can go next. I'm Diane. I am the treasurer here at LISSA. I live in Pilot Mountain, North Carolina, teeny tiny town, and I do work in our public library right on Main Street. I live 2 blocks away. I walk to work every day. It's delightful. It's like living in a Hallmark movie. This is a 3rd career, something like that. I'm also a licensed massage therapist. I've also worked as a reporter. I've homeschooled my child, who is also in college, expecting to graduate at the same time as me. So we'll have a big old party. And I'm just delighted to be here with all of you lovely people.
I can go. I'm Sarah Burton, and I'm the secretary for LISSA, and I'm just meeting everybody for the first time tonight. And so as you see me tuck my head, I am, taking notes so I can do the minutes. I'm in my 3rd semester, and I am interested in special libraries like Stephanie, mainly interested in health sciences. Due to some losses I've had, I think it's important for patients to have advocates, and I think knowing how to research and be able to decipher accurate information and misinformation and disinformation is so valuable in all areas of our lives, but especially with health advocacy. So I have a husband, 2 kids, a dog, and 4 cats. And I have a hard time saying no. So strays come in and out of my house, animals and humans. And that's me in a nutshell.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Davis, and I'm a first-year rep, and so therefore I'm in my first semester, and I'm completely new to library science. I came to discover I wanted to be a librarian after working in many different careers. I've actually have a medical degree as a physician assistant and worked in neurology. And I did research in neuroscience before that. I've always loved seeking out information, and I work for a software company here in Greensboro, and that's where I live. And I decided I needed a different career, and so I sought out being a librarian. Although I'm definitely considering being a school librarian. I would not say I was ever inspired by any school librarian that I ever had. I don't remember that one of them. Maybe it's just been too long, but I feel like school librarians have an important role, and I want to help teach information literacy. And I love books. I read a lot, and I know it's not just helping them select books, but I get so excited when I was just like sorting the books when I've worked in the school recently. So I'm here to help how I can. It's nice to meet all the other students.
I can go. So my name is Nikki. I am in, I guess it would be my 3rd semester, but I think it's my 2nd because I was spring and now fall, and I did summer classes. My track is special libraries and archives. And with an interest in preservation and conservation, one of my biggest goals is to work at the Library of Congress. I have many places that I want to work. I don't necessarily have like a niche, like I'm really good at this or really good at that. There's just places, and I want to travel. What brought me to this career change during COVID, one of my independent bookstore had an event, and a gentleman was presenting his rare books on Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll, and he had like an extensive rare book collection. And I was asking a lot of questions, and someone reached out to me, direct message, and said that I can come to the Wake Forest archives and look around. I guess from the questions I was asking, she understood that I had an interest in the archives. And then once I figured out what she did, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So here I am, and happy to be here. Yeah.
So my name is Andrew Wood. Let's see, I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to share. This is my 1st semester. I'm interested in mostly the 2 areas that stand out the most to me are digital archives and also research. I would like to try and be a research librarian. I'm mainly concerned with the aspects of information and its democratization, how we can expand who accesses information. And so as I'm starting out in like 131 with, I think that's emerging technologies, talking about things like open source technologies and different programs, I really, that's the sort of stuff that interests me. But I guess that's, I'm living here in Greensboro. I live across the street from campus. So I think that covered most of what we were requested, so.
Hi, I'm Julianne. I'm located in Winston-Salem. It's my, counting as summer, my 4th semester, and I hopefully can finish up next April. I've done a lot of my classes have been archival focused, special collections, and I also have an interest in digital libraries. In terms of employment, I don't have a big background in having been in libraries. I know a lot of people come to it through that, but right now I'm doing an archival internship, and I'm also getting some reference library hours in. So looking forward to another great semester, and it's good to actually make a LISSA meeting. Thanks. Oh, and like Diane, I also am a licensed massage therapist. So just a random aside.
Hey, so I'm Caroline. This is my first semester of the program, and I am focusing on public librarianship, although I'm interested in learning about other things. And I started as a volunteer in my public library and then turned into a page. And then I'm actually just getting ready to start next week a new library assistant position. Thank you. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to be back at UNCG. I did my undergrad there a long time ago, so I'm a double Spartan. And I'm also doing a reference internship, so learning a little bit on the academic side this semester too. Oh, and I'm outside of Raleigh. I think that was the last. I couldn't remember everything either, like Andrew.
I can promise there's no test. And if you don't answer all the questions, you only get a few points off. Oh, I think we've got someone new. Hi, Trina. Did you want to say hello? Trina's like, I just showed up. Don't make me.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking
That's okay.
I had too many things open and I was just looking for my buttons there. Hi there, how are you?
Good. We've just gone through and kind of said a little bit about ourselves, you know, how far we are into the program, what our focus is, where we live, things like that. So would you like to say a little more?
Sure. So hi, I'm Trina, and this is my first semester in the program. I live in Carolina Beach, and I work for New Hanover County Public Library part-time. So I'm excited to be here.
So you're willing to have us come visit you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's exactly
We
what
can
I was gonna
definitely
say.
have a meetup.
Next meeting at Trina's house. Awesome. Well, did we miss anybody? I want to make sure, please speak up if, you know, I think I see everybody on Zoom. I think I've heard everybody's voices, but all right. Well, we've got just a few things to talk about tonight to get into what the semester will be like for LISSA. It's great to see everybody here. Last year when I joined LISSA, it was absolutely the only way I knew what was going on. And I still feel that way. But we've got several different things that we do. Obviously, the general meetings, which is, tonight is one. That's the third Sunday of every month after this month. And a little later, Stephanie will talk about CritLib. Stephanie and Diane will talk about CritLib. And I am also going to talk a bit about our speaker series. We have alumni who come to speak, who graduated from the program and are, oh my goodness, I love the Rose Apothecary. I love that background. I'm sorry, Trina, that's very cool. So we have speakers come about once a month, and we're trying to get speakers from different fields. So right now, next month in September, I got to look at the dates myself, and this will all come out to you later. I'll put it in the chat, and then it'll come out later again. You don't have to take notes, but next month in September on the 23rd, which is a Thursday at 7, Jennifer Wicker will join us as a speaker. She is a past Virginia Library Association president, and currently she's the head of research services at Radford University in Virginia. So she'll be our first alumni speaker. In October, on Tuesday, October 12th, also at 7, we'll have Lauren Brewer, who's the High Point University head of reference services, and actually she and I worked together up until recently at Greensboro College. So that's an exciting one for me. And then on Tuesday, November 9th, also at 7, we'll have Heather Hans. Her position is a little different. She's at Duke University, but she's an instructional designer there instead of a librarian. And she's somebody that Dr. Bird suggested to show, you know, not everybody just goes right into libraries. There are a lot of options. So she'll be our first of other options that we'll hear from. So those are our speakers for this semester, and then we'll have new ones starting in January. One date that's also important to write down, to remember, is our LIS Town Hall date. The Town Hall is something that Dr. O'Connor, as our dean, puts together each semester, and it's a chance for us to all get together online to discuss questions, concerns, a way for her to, you know, let us know what's going on with the program, policies, anything like that. That date this semester will be Wednesday, October 13th at 5. And classes, so far I've seen classes always let you come late after that. So if you have a Wednesday, like I have a Wednesday night class at 5:30, if you do have a class, they will start the class late so that the professors can also be at the town hall. LISSA's part in that is actually we present questions to Dr. O'Connor. So if you have questions ahead of time that you would like to ask her, I'm going to write the LISSA email address here in the chat. If you were at Welcome Day, please use this email address and not the incorrect email address I gave at Welcome Day. So just lissa.uncg@gmail.com. You're also welcome to reach out to any of the officers from LISSA. We can get those questions compiled for Dr. O'Connor. So that will be coming up in October. You'll hear about that from your classes probably. And of course, you'll get emails from Greg Hoffman too about it. For myself, the last thing I'm going to talk about is specific more to anybody who's doing school media and interested in it. The school media program has been ranked 8th in the country and number 1 in the state. And so they are understandably proud of that. And they've come out with shirts. So I'm going to possibly pop that into control. There we go. Into the chat here. That's a little video they made of themselves working on the shirts here locally with a local vendor. And if you are interested at this point, they're not ordering shirts yet, but if you're interested in getting one, their interest form is here. So that is all the talking I plan to do, unless someone says, but Becky was supposed to say, and then oh, right, I forgot. But we've got Stephanie up next with some things.
Yeah, so I'll be talking a little bit about CritLib. Just briefly, for people who aren't familiar with CritLib, CritLib is short for Critical Librarianship, and it's an ongoing international discussion about multifaceted discussion about social justice issues and how librarians, and Diane has thrown a link to the ALA's Keeping Up with CritLib article in the chat, social justice issues and how librarians and librarianship can implement change in the culture, kind of fight for social justice. In the past, LISSA has discussed like white fragility, anti-racism, LGBTQ issues, intersectionality, and more. I'll throw the link to the LISSA, the resources that LISSA has compiled from the past into the chat here. So there are already some really great resources there on and information about past discussions. CritLib is a safe space and privacy is important, so we do not record those sessions. but we do link to resources that we use for discussions. And we've also just set up an email specifically for CritLib. Excuse my slow typing. Oh, not Caitlin, it's CritLib. Sorry, guys. Just set this up.
Who's busy? Caitlin's busy.
That's right. Okay, yeah. So if you have questions that you want to ask somewhat anonymously, clearly the board will have access to this email and we'll see your questions. But if you have things that you would like to discuss or questions you want to ask that you're not comfortable speaking up during a CritLib session, you can email us at critlib.uncg@gmail.com. Let's see what else. Oh, Dr. Leticia Velez is our faculty advisor for LISSA, and she's heavily involved in CritLib. And one of the questions she gets asked a lot is how to respond if you witness like street harassment or violence or something like that. How do you respond as a bystander? And so there is a free seminar I want to let you guys know about, or free webinar happening on September 15th that I will be attending, but anyone is welcome to join. The link to register for the webinar is in the chat. But that will be one of our CritLib discussions. We'll be discussing that topic at some point. So still sort of figuring out exactly what the lineup will be for CritLib, but it will be happening on the 4th Sunday of the month. Our first CritLib will be, what is that, September. So September 26th. The time will be announced after this meeting. We didn't get a chance to. Oh, thanks, Sarah, about the stand up against street harassment. It looks really good. So CritLib, first meeting on the 26th. We're going to be, Diane will be talking about, we want to do alternate between a book discussion where people can read a book, and we'll have like a book club focused on one of these critical issues. And then also alternating that with a discussion. So for instance, one of the discussion topics will be like, how do you respond as a witness to social injustice? So we figure that will give people plenty of time to read a book for book clubs. We're not trying to read a heavy book every month. We'll have some space there. Other topics that we're throwing around are critical librarianship in comics. There's a UNCG alumni who's written a whole book on critical librarianship in comics, and I thought that would be an interesting topic. Also, since there are so many school librarians in the program, we had talked about gender and sexuality alliances in middle schools. Those are some ideas that are coming your way. Again, if you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to email us. And Diane will be talking a little later about some of the book club possibilities. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephanie. I'll go next with some updates from the marketing end. So first update is I am working with a couple people, professors, people associated with the program to get some plans for getting the LinkedIn. I think it's the I'm trying to remember what exactly it's called right now. I think it's UNCG LIS LinkedIn account page, something, to make sure people know about that and make sure people know how to like link it with your profile and different things. So I'm actually meeting with the two people tomorrow. So I'm hoping to have updates to send out to everybody soon on that. And my second update today was just to remind everyone about the survey that we sent out, which I'm going to send a link in the chat in just a second. It's a very long, complicated Google Docs link, but that is our survey where we're asking about if anybody has preferences for things that LISSA does this year, days of the week that they'd like events to be on, evenings, different things like that. So we'll be sending this again sometime this week with the meeting recording in minutes. So you can see that in email as well, if this link looks really scary right now. But yeah, that I think is all that I have for right now. And Stephanie shared earlier the LISSA resource site, which is great. That's where we're going to have the meeting recordings in minutes after, if people haven't made it there before. So we'll be sending that out after. I think that's all that I had.
Thank you, Molly. So I'll go next. I am the treasurer, so I'm going to start talking about some money stuff. First of all, we have some leftover things from last year. I was not the treasurer yet, but Brianna, who was, passed this along to me. Last year's executive committee had decided to use some of the money that was raised from the t-shirt fundraiser to do an ACLU donation. And I contacted ACLU and they responded, and I passed that information along to the CAP office, and they have been sending ACLU emails all summer long asking for information in order to be able to donate money to them, and they have not responded. So I just need some permission from the executive board to or a direction, do you want to continue pursuing that, or do you want to do something different? You want to just leave that money in our account? How many times do we need to knock them on the head before they take our money? I don't know what you all want as far as that. Do you have anything to say, Becky?
If somebody were emailing me to give me money, I would definitely answer. But that's a really good question, because that actually was our second choice organization. There was another organization which was much smaller, and we had a similar issue with them. So it is strange how hard it is to give money away. My feeling, and this is just my personal feeling, so I'm not tied to this is what we do, but is we will do another fundraiser in the spring, and perhaps we take the money from both and give it to, Reading Connections, I think, is a great organization that's local. I mean, there are, of course, we don't want to just do local. So I think there are other options and a lot of other places that would accept money.
Right. So I actually do have another suggestion, and I
Awesome.
will come back to that in just a moment.
Perfect.
If anybody else has anything to add to that, though, I'm willing to listen, or you can reach out at any other time, and if you have suggestions about that.
Just for quick clarification for the minutes.
Mhm.
So you're the new treasurer, you've tried to give money to the ACLU and they're not responding in a receptive way to take our money. So
Yes.
Becky's suggestion is possibly combining these funds with something in the spring, or you're gonna make another recommendation. I just want to make sure I had all that
Right.
correct,
Yes.
so that when the board does need to make a decision on it, we have all the information. So
That is correct. Yes, it was
Would it
for
know-
those of you who don't know anything about this decision was made last spring before I was even an officer. It's supposed to be $350 donation, if you wanted to make note of that. And it is Meredith Atchison is the person in the CAP office that I have been dealing with, and she has been emailing them repeatedly all summer long, and I've checked in and she said, yes, I've sent them yet another message. I'll send them yet another still. And we just haven't heard any response. So the last email she sent them was this past Monday, and this week they still haven't responded. So that's just where we are with that.
Great. Just want to make sure that's noted.
Sure.
It's definitely tried.
Right. We did really make an effort. So another financial thing is door prizes, which we have talked about a little bit, but I don't think anything was finalized. And I wanted to know whether I need to go ahead and do the paperwork to get those purchased, or what you want to, what I need to do. I believe the last discussion that I remember, the last thing put out there was buying like prepaid Visa card kind of thing for $10 each. Is that where we were? Or does anybody have a different?
Is this for the speaker series, or what are the door prizes for? I'm sorry.
So the door prize idea was for meetings themselves, you know, to kind of get people engaged. You know, this idea I had while I was sitting in a room full of people whose programs are mostly undergraduate, you know, undergraduate clubs. And I don't know. I have since thought, yeah, maybe this is not what we need to do. So yeah.
I'm
So
fine with that. I just wanted to know if I needed to move forward with anything. So
yeah, I have no opinion on doing it one way or the other, honestly. I kind of wish I just hadn't said it.
Oh,
well, I was
I'll write
thinking
that down, Sarah.
get a temperature of the room, the non-board members, for the others that are present. Obviously something brought you here to be joining us tonight, and it wasn't a door prize because you didn't know about it. But to like Nikki and Andrew and Julianne and Caroline and Trina, if you guys think that, you know, what are your thoughts? Do you think something like door prizes would entice more people to come to the meetings, or is it just, you know, getting the meeting information out there and the speaker series and the crit lib and all the awesome things that we're doing? Is that enough?
silence.
Everyone's typing. I'm just thinking everybody's typing right now.
I'd be more inclined to say no for the door prizes. I feel like it just sets a precedent that you have to keep up with, and
Right.
we'd be better off to, you know, invite a friend every time or try to do something to help promote it that way.
Fabulous. Thank you for your input. Anyone else?
I don't mind door prizes. I mean, free stuff is always good, you know, and especially if you win. But I don't know if that would be the incentive to bring people. It would be something as a reward while you're here. But I do think of as a lot of us are online, there's a lot of things that UNCG does with their welcoming, like come by the Elliott Center and pick up a tote bag or a swag bag. And so, you know, online people, we don't get those things. So I was wondering if, you know, if they have like leftovers from people who don't come, you know, then you could use some of those items as your door prizes. And then all that you all will be responsible for is postage, because of course people are distance. Because I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not fair, but I mean, I get the emails and I'm kind of like, dang, I want a hat. I want a water bottle, you know. Granted, you know, Greensboro's down the street, but still, you know, COVID. So I'm like, but as far as getting people, I think the awareness is what, and I was going to say, ask Molly. I think it's Molly who's doing marketing. I know for me, because I'm everywhere, my mind's everywhere on everything with school. If I'm flooded or I notice, like if I'm on social media and I have a break and I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a meeting. So if like on Twitter and on Instagram, I'm not on Facebook that much, but if you post those meetings or post, something exciting that happened from the meeting or something like that activity on there, like, because I follow those accounts, that helps me. And it makes me aware of like, oh yeah, I can make that one. Oh no, I can't make that one. Oh, that's what happened.
Fabulous. Thank you for your input. Did anyone else have anything to add?
Just noting that Julianne said from past experience with another organization, it wasn't enough to make a significant difference. And Caroline mentioned crit lib and speaker. So I really like what Nikki said, putting those action items out there or something that happens during the meeting or whatever. And swag bags. I want a mug.
Right.
Something for participants we can look at later with what we may have allocated to door prize money, maybe consider doing something for participants, maybe at a later date. Just a thought. Good discussion, you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. So that's sort of the end of my treasurer talk. We currently have around $1,500 in our account. Just that's a not exact figure, but
About 15, said, I'm sorry, my son was walking through the room. 1,500.
It's around 1,500. Yes. I'm not looking at that page right now, but I will move on to CritLib, which we've already started discussing. Thank you to Stephanie. And that will tie in another little financial possibility. So I, along with Becky, went to was that called Welcome Day? I think it was. I went to one of the events on campus and we met a lot of people at a table and we gave away a lot of free books and it was really fun. I think we gave away over 40 books. And we met a lot of people and heard what their questions were about, what they thought LISSA might be doing in the world and why we existed. And a regular question that we got from people was, are you doing a book club? And that's kind of where the idea for making part of the CritLib meetings be book club sort of format. And so I have done a little research and found a few books that I thought would be really good for our purposes. One of them is called The Dark. I'll actually just post this list for y'all and you can look at what the titles are. There you go. So the first one on there is called The Dark Fantastic, Race and the Imagination from Harry Potter to the Hunger Games. It's sort of a fan activism sort of look into critical issues within literature. So I thought that would be interesting for the people who just love reading fantasy and being able to use those kinds of stories to maybe engage with their patrons whatever form of library you're in, to have some of those tough discussions. The next one is called Calling Bullshit, The Art of Skepticism in a Data-Driven World. And I thought that would be a good topic because there is so much going on with misinformation in the world these days. And those two books are actually available as ebooks through Jackson Library. So they're highly accessible for anybody that might join us. I also, because I'm a North Carolina resident, looked in NC Cardinal and they're also available through NC Cardinal. So those titles, that's why they're at the top of the list because of accessibility. And I think that's important. But the next one, Cynical Theories, is available through Cardinal, but it's not in Jackson Library except for as a print book, which anybody across the country or globe would not have access to that print copy, obviously. And Librarians with Spines, it just sounds like a amazing book to me. It's not in Jackson at all. It's not in Cardinal either. I actually ordered a copy because I just need to read it, but it's actually a series of essays that each cover a different critical issue in librarianship, and it just sounds like a really good book. There's actually a volume 2 that's been published as well. And one of my ideas for maybe instead of our ACLU donation, since that's not working out, would be to contact the Jackson Library and see if it would be possible for us to purchase some of these books to make accessible for our Crit Lib discussions or something along those lines, something that would be, actually useful to our students on campus and to people throughout the university that are not even in our department. Just a suggestion and idea. So I guess my questions for you all are, do you have any strong preferences as far as what books? If you have other suggestions that are not listed here, Stephanie and I haven't decided specific dates or anything, but I'm thinking that there'll probably be just 1, maybe 2 books each semester. So 4 is probably more than we'll even get to. But if you have strong thoughts, please share them.
Diane, one thing I'll say about the books, getting them from Jackson Library is I've maybe accidentally triggered some purchases from, I think using, Jennifer had said, talking about mailing books to us. They'll do that, but if they can get an e-copy of it, I've done that a couple of times. They've just been like, oh yeah, this would be great. We'll add it to the collection. So they may do that too if you ask them. Maybe even through, I think I did it through, I can't remember what thing through the library site, but yeah.
I have a question as to why you all chose to possibly do it after or during the Crit Lib sessions instead of like during the or after the general meeting.
Oh, you mean the book club?
Yes.
It would actually be in place of a Crit Lib session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would be Crit Lib Book Club. And so there would be a regular Crit Lib meeting 1 month, and then the next month, instead of Crit Lib, it would be this book club style.
And Diane, you had said that was because the feedback you received at the table that you and Becky had, about Crit Lib, people were asking if there was a club involved with it, correct?
Right. There was a lot of interest in just having a book club in general, and we thought, we wanted it to be a productive book club. And also because it would be, I think, actually in years past, based on the documentation from previous LISSA boards, they did a Crit Lib book club years ago. And I just thought it would be really hard to do that every single month with the amount of reading that we're already doing for all of our classes and everything else that we're doing. So I thought, just having it once a semester or, every other month or something like that would be more doable for most of the students. So, okay, I see a question that says, can you repeat how you wanted to involve other organizations on campus?
Didn't you say something about involving other groups?
Oh, well, what I was saying is that if we purchased a book for the library, then it wouldn't just be accessible to our department. It would be accessible to all of the students on the whole campus. And that is actually, so I didn't go over any of this other stuff, but that's actually one of the criteria for receiving funding as a student organization. So we decided back in the summer not to ask for more money for this semester because we have enough and we don't have plans to spend a whole bunch right now. But in the future, one of the things that they look at as far as if you're wanting to get money from the student government organization, which they give out each semester to different student organizations, is how many people you're reaching with your funding. So if you're planning on asking for money and you wanted to do a scholarship for one person, you would be less likely to receive that money than if you were doing something that would benefit more people, your whole department or the whole campus, or the more people that you're benefiting, the more likely you are to receive your funding. I don't see any other questions.
Caroline, I think you might be right. They might purchase that one.
It sounds like a good book. I want to read it
It's such
so
a good
badly.
title.
Right? Yeah. All right.
Well, does anybody have anything that they want to add for the good of the order, as Joanne DePolt always finishes her classes?
Will we make a decision and how will we get that information out as far as what book will be for Crit Lib, sorry. Just so everyone here can, maybe even share that with their classes, because we all get to class a little early and we're all chatting about things. Hey, for Crit Lib, we are going to read this book in the month of, for October or whatever. I'm just wondering when and how we'll get that information out.
Well, my suggestion, because it looks like there are several people that are mentioning the Dark Fantastic, and that one is already in the catalog and available. I would recommend just starting with that as our first title. Nobody seems to be super crazy about calling bullshit. So if we can communicate with the library and find out if we can purchase an e-copy, if there is an e-copy of Librarians with Spines, and maybe that would be our second title. If we can, we could still use that title anyways, even if it's not a holding in the library, but I think that would be nice to have it before we tell everybody that's what we're reading. That's just my thought.
And this would be for October, right? The first book club would be
October or November. We haven't set dates yet, so yes. Yes.
I think it sounds great. I think that the Dark Fantastic, I haven't seen anyone say no, not that one. So and October would be a great month to talk about a dark, fantastic book.
Yeah, some fantasy.
Exactly. So that would be very cool. And Nikki, I saw your question about a LISSA newsletter. We have the resource site that Molly updates and the social media. We don't have a newsletter per se.
No, but I think we were talking about this a little bit before we got started, that I would like to send updates after the meetings happen with a link to the recording and the minutes. And then for like this one that I'm planning to send this week, a link to the survey that we're going to be cutting off this Friday for responses. But that might be kind of newsletter-esque, just like, hey, here's what's coming up. Check out the resource site. Like Becky said, I think that following social media is going to be another good bet for getting updates. I can share the LISSA accounts in just a second if people aren't familiar with that. And yeah, for Caroline's question or response, I'll be sending things to Greg to send out to the LIS listserv, so everybody's going to get those updates. And I hope everybody made it on this meeting. So I think people got those. But yes, I hope that answered your question, Nikki. Cool.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited. This was the most fun I've ever had at a LISSA meeting. I'm very excited about the book club. And if I'm looking at the calendar right, I think the next potential thing to participate in is actually that September 15th online workshop that Stephanie mentioned that Dr. Velez put out there. So hopefully some of us can attend that. And then we've got our next general meeting on September 19th, I believe, because yes, on September 19th. And we'll have Crit Lib on September 26th. And then our first speaker will be September 23rd. Don't worry, you'll hear updates about all of that between now and then. So, but if anybody has anything else they want to add, I'm happy to hear it. If anybody wants to officially adjourn, I guess we can do all the motions to adjourn.
So moved.
Third.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope that you have an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing everybody again soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Nice
Thank
meeting you
you.
guys. Take
Nice
care.
to meet you.